and welcome to the Self-Improvement Project. I hope you're all well. I hope you've all had a great week. This is the first episode of the Self-Improvement Project that will be a podcast, as usual, and also going to be on YouTube as an episode. So I'm quite excited for this. Please forgive me if there's any mishaps during the episode because of this, but I'm quite excited. Now, this episode this week is around self-reflection. Self-reflection is a massive area and concept within self-improvement, self-development, personal growth. And today I want to share with you some of the really key concepts that make self-reflection really effective, things that I've personally learned, as well as taking little things that can definitely help with you implementing self-reflection as well. So, what is self-reflection? The first point I'd like to make around self-reflection is in order to self-reflect, we first need to be self-aware. Self-aware of where we are in life, where we are with relationships, career, happiness, contentment, and be willing to sit down and look at the uncomfortable truths. What is going well in our life without being overly negative? What is not going well in our life? Where do we want to improve? And being really honest about these things with ourselves. Now, we sometimes go years without even taking a moment to self-reflect, but what we should be doing is taking 10-15 minutes, even if that's just a month or a week to begin with, to really hone in on what we really want in life. And if you think of that over a long period of time of months and years, this can really benefit our personal growth and ensure that in a number of years' time we don't look back with regret. Was that what you really wanted? Or were you just trundling along with how society is going, so you've just been carried off with it? So self-reflection, I would like you to view it as is a long-term benefit for yourself. There is no external gratification. There is no dopamine hit that we get with self-reflection. Yet it is a purely selfish act. I would compare the feeling that you get from self-reflection to the feeling when you express gratitude, appreciation, or taking the time to meditate. It's like flipping any negative thoughts that we have or mental baggage into a learning process. Instead of viewing a situation as, why is this happening to me, into flipping it and flipping our mindset to, what is this moment trying to teach me? From an overall perspective of 2020, a good starting point for self-reflection would be the COVID situation. Instead of why is this happening to me, what is this moment trying to teach me? Self-reflection needs to be triggered. Don't listen to this episode and fool yourself into thinking that you will create this automatic response that you can program your mind to self-reflect all the time. It doesn't work like that. Like anything, including moments that I've talked about already with gratitude, meditation, you have to physically force yourself into a blocked period of time in order to do it. And once you create that system, that habit, it will then propel into personal growth. If you do rely on this being an automatic response, first of all, you'll find that your chimp takes over. If you want to hear more or read more about your own chimp, I would definitely recommend the book The Chimp Paradox by Dr. Steve Peters. Like I mentioned, what we need to work on is our own systems, prioritizing a block of time each day to self-reflect. It's important to understand as well to experiment here. Find what works for you. From that, I'm now going to touch on the when and the how of self-reflection. The when needs to be suited around your life. Not only morning, afternoon, evening, but what do you do during those times? Do you have a commute each day? Why not experiment with a commute to work or from work around self-reflection? Processing that mental baggage, your thoughts from the day. Or do you have time in the morning? You would prefer to get up first thing and make sure that before anything you do that day, you section in some self-reflection. Or is it something that you want to do before going to bed each night, so that you know that you're going to bed and you're going to sleep with no mental blockage, nothing overwhelming you. You're clearing everything. Now the how. How we reflect can be very important, and I want to suggest 3 different ways or methods to self-reflect, and for you to explore and find what suits you best. The first one is meditating. I've done a previous podcast episode on meditation, around what I find useful, what ways we can meditate, the starting point for meditation essentially. And by meditating, we're putting ourselves in a little bubble where we are taking the time for ourselves. It's almost a balance of focus as well. We're not focusing on one specific thing. We're allowing our thoughts to process. So, taking the time to be by ourselves, have no disturbances going on, no notifications, no chance of being interrupted by anything. Taking that time to meditate and just breathe. By doing this, it allows us to self-reflect on what maybe mentally we think is important, but also things might come to the fore that weren't maybe on the surface. So by going deeper there, it allows us to self-reflect on things that are important to us. So meditating is definitely one way to try with self-reflection. A second way of self-reflecting is through conversations with others. Those we trust, our family, our friends, our spouses. Conversing and expressing our thoughts out loud is a way of exploring how we're getting on, how we're finding it, and allows us to evolve those thoughts into things and ways of overcoming them. And by doing this, it almost relieves any stresses that we have, but you'd be amazed at how many people, when you express your own self-reflections, that they provide perspective. They add value. They can provide advice. And this can sometimes be very useful for you taking those next steps. Ensure that these people are positive, optimistic, as well as realists. You sometimes need that advice because maybe they've made that mistake and they're passing on that wisdom to you. But you also need that positivity around it's okay to feel how you're feeling. And there are some ways maybe to build on it. The last one, the last way of self-reflecting, and from my own perspective, is the easiest and the most satisfying, is writing. Physically writing, not typing, physically getting a pen or pencil and paper and writing. There is something, and I still can't put my finger on it, but from physically holding a pen, writing down words as your thoughts, your feelings, and your reflections sinks in like nothing else in the world. So by having some sort of journal, some sort of diary, self-reflection can be so powerful here. The reason I say it's the easiest to implement is because you aren't relying on anything or anyone else. Meditation, we can get interrupted. Conversations, we're relying on someone else to be there first of all, but also to provide value or just listen. They might not always give you that. A pen and paper can always give you that. It can give you that reliability. And the second thing is that it is the most satisfying. I have kept a journal or diary or self-reflection in written form for more than 2 years. And the most satisfying thing is looking back and reading how you were on a specific date at a specific time. It's like a wee time machine. And you recognize areas of weakness, but you also recognize areas of resilience and perseverance. And it can bring pride, it can bring motivation, but it can also teach you lessons. Why was I thinking like that? What did I do after that? What did that result in? And why am I where I am now? So those are my ways of self-reflecting. And I hope that it inspires you to take action on one of those from your own perspective and for your own benefit. And that's it. All I can say is that I hope that you've found this useful and that you can take action from that, even in a small way this week. And if you can build some sort of habit or system where you chunk out a small part of your day to do so, that's only going to help you grow. So, thank you for listening, first of all. If you have found value in this today, please share it with somebody that you love, someone that you care about, or someone else that you think might find value in it. It does mean an awful lot to me to help other people improve and develop. So if you can do that to help me do that, then I'd be eternally grateful. If you are listening to this on a podcast, or if you're watching it on YouTube for the first time, please hit subscribe so I can essentially keep improving myself and keep improving the content for you each week. I try and do an episode every Monday, so please keep an eye out for that as well. I'm excited to share with you some of the new ideas that I've got over the coming weeks and some more content that I hope you'll like as well. Otherwise, stay tuned and I hope you all have a great week. Cheers.